Basically, here's how the curriculum can work. Regardless of whether you've got your belt group split into 3 classes, beginner, intermediate and advanced, that's straightforward, because basically what I would do was you would teach the curriculum for 20-25 minutes of the class. If it's a 45-minute lesson, 20-minute section of curriculum each class. If you've got an hour, then it might be 25 minutes of curriculum. Now, what the curriculum allows you to be able to do is, a rotating curriculum works slightly differently to a conventional. Of course, when I was growing up and being graded by my instructor, there was one class, there was about 20 of us in the class, and there was belt groups coming from red belt, yellow belt, all the way up to brown and black belts. So it was ultra hard for the instructor, and when you think about it, from there you all had to fight for the instructor's attention for curriculum time. Everybody would pull out their syllabus, go off into a corner and practice, and it's not a great level of service, because some people didn't get ready to grade because the instructor just couldn't spread himself wide enough to be able to help everyone. So what happens is, when people stop progressing, they get out of sync, and that's when you lose them. So the biggest service that you can give your student is to teach the whole group the same thing, so that you're focusing on everybody at the same time. So here's how you can do this. Obviously, if you're just starting out, you may have 1 class or you may have 2 classes, so you can split the belt groups from here. So here's how I would recommend that you would do that. Level 1 to level 6 you would put in 1 class, and level 7 to level 12 you would put in another class. So 2 classes, you're covering the whole curriculum. So let's say you've got level 1 to level 6 in 1 class. What you would do is, if it's in the first portion of the class, you would teach level 1, 2 or 3, the beginner levels. In the second portion of the class, you would teach levels 4, 5 and 6. So let me explain this from here. If I join your school, okay, and you're teaching level 2 and level 5 in your first class, okay, what you would do is, if I've joined that class, then I will grade on level 2, then I'll grade on level 3, then I'll grade on level 1, and then I'll go up to the intermediate and do the 4, 5 and 6. So what we're thinking about now is the levels do not relate to the belts. Okay, so normally you go, everybody grades for their, whatever your system is, the white belt, the red belt, the yellow belt, the orange belt, the green belt, the blue belt and so on. This is a different way of thinking, because what happens is, everybody who's, let's say your first 3 belts are white, yellow and orange, just for argument's sake, then all the level 1, 2 and 3 people are going to be grading at the same time, testing for the same level but different belts. So let's say I come in and join your school at level 2, and everybody in that beginner class during the first portion are learning level 2. Okay? Now some people, because there's 3 belts, remember, during level 1, 2 and 3, and I join, I'm going to test for my first belt, which might be the white belt, depending on your system. Okay? Some people might be testing for the yellow belt or the orange belt, but we're all going to test on the same material. So by the end of that 3 months of material, that 3 levels of material, we're all going to be at the same belt level to move to intermediate material. So it might go white belt, red belt, yellow belt, then we go the intermediates. It might go white belt, red belt, yellow belt. Okay, so the essence is, we deliver level 2 material, and the first 3 belts will test on that. So once we've all done level 3, all 3 materials, no matter what order we do it in, we're all going to graduate to the next set of curriculum at the 3rd belt level, which, in my system is white, red, yellow. So then I'm going to go level 4, 5 and 6 in my system would have been orange, green and blue. Okay, so then what happens in the second portion of the class? Okay, we know that the second portion is going to be orange, green and blue belts. They're all going to learn level 4, 5 and 6 material. So same again. Okay, if I come into this portion of material and you're at level 6, then I'm going to test on level 6, but because I've only just come into that level, this is my third belt, so I'm a yellow belt, white, red, yellow, then I'm going to test my orange belt, then my green, then my blue. So we've got level 6, 4, 5, okay? So basically, here's what we're thinking about, is we're basically thinking that at the end of those 6 levels, when we move up into the next class, which obviously is just going to cover level 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 and 12, just over time, as I go into that class from there, and I'm a blue belt because I've covered all those 6 levels, and if you think about it, it doesn't really matter, okay, what order I've done that curriculum in based on my system is the ingenious thing, because we've all covered the same material regardless of the order. Okay, we're still at the same level because we've all covered it. Not in the same order because we've come in at different times, but we've all covered it, which makes it make sense. So I'm now into the next class, okay, and I'm a blue belt. So let's say I join that class at level 9. Then in my system it would have been a purple belt or purple stripe belt, purple and white, purple, brown 1, brown 2, brown 3, black belt, okay? So that's how that would work. So in essence, if I come in at level 9, I'm still going to test for the 7th belt level in my system, which was purple and white, and then I'll go purple belt, brown 1, brown 2, then obviously I'm going to test for my black belt, okay? So this is the ingenious thing, because it makes it so easy for your students to understand, because you're teaching them all the same thing and we're all testing on the same thing. For you as the instructor, you've only got to teach the whole group, and you've only got one set of material to remember and think about. So it's so much simpler and easier, and it just makes the whole process of retention much better, because you haven't got 15 parents saying, what are we teaching, what are we doing, and being anxious, and this is just not working. And if a student becomes busy and they get out of sync of class, then what's going to happen is they're going to be comfortable coming back in because everybody's covering the same thing, and you're not having to go and spend loads of time with just them to backtrack and get them caught up, okay? So that's in essence how it works. So you have the beginner, the intermediate and the advanced levels, okay, and you teach that. If we're going back to just the beginners class now, level 1 to 3, in the first portion of the class, that let's say, if it's a 45-minute lesson, then I would deliver about 16 minutes of level 1 to 3 portion, and then about 16 minutes of level 4, 5, 6. Now you may be asking yourself, well, if we're covering both sets of material in the same class, and we're covering level 1 for the beginners, and level 4 for the intermediates, how are the beginners going to get on learning level 4 material? Well, of course, that's perfect, because although they're going to learn it, they're not going to test on it. So when they've done that level and they then come to level 4, they're going to be so much more proficient, which makes your job easier, they're more confident, you can have a better standard of student, and so on and so forth. So that's how it works. I hope we've explained it really well. It's a great advantage of service, because you know, it's just being smart. As the investment that you get and as the curriculum rotates, you're always going to have 7 months of teaching material at your fingertips. So it would be pretty unbelievable if you couldn't make this work for you and really improve your school and grow on. And of course, if any of this is still unsure, you can email us at support@martialartscurriculum.com, and we'll answer any questions that you've got to make it clear, because we want to make the system to work for you. I'm passionate about helping people grow, which is why we like the model of the internet, because you're 24/7, you can log on, you don't have to find a DVD, you don't have to wait to get something through the post. It's perfect, and of course the cost becomes much lower because of the way that we deliver it, because it's not labour intensive and the system's all on there. So take action, and onwards and upwards.